Welcome everyone to the Intel Industry Solution Builders webinar program. Thank you for taking the time to join us today with Intel Industry Solution Builders Gold community member Sodaclick for their presentation titled The AI-Driven Drive-Thru, How Sodaclick and Intel Are Powering the Next Generation of Customer Interactions. Before we get started, I want to point out some of the features of the BrightTalk tool that may improve your experience. There is a questions tab below your viewer. I encourage our live audience to please ask questions at any time. Our presenters will answer them after the presentation. Below your viewing screen, you'll also find an attachments tab with additional documentation and reference materials, including a number of websites and documents mentioned in this presentation. Finally, at the end of the presentation, please take the time to provide feedback using the ratings tab. We value your thoughts and will use the information to improve our future webinars. Check the Intel Industry Solution Builders website partner webinar channel to see what is upcoming and access our growing library of co-branded content with our strategic partners in the document library. In addition to the resources you see here from our partners, we also offer a comprehensive NFV and SDN training program through Intel Industry Solution Builder University. You can find a link to this program in the attachments tab, as well as a link to subscribe to the latest Intel Industry Solution Builders newsletter. All right, today we are pleased to welcome Ibrahim, founder and CTO of Sodaclick, Sam, co-founder and COO of Sodaclick, and Dan, digital signage lead at Intel, for this presentation. Now I'll go ahead and hand it over to our presenters to get us started. Dan, it's all yours.
Thanks, Tyrell. So, hi everyone, good to be here today. I'm just going to go through a sort of overview of where Intel is seeing the market and how we're engaged in retail and hospitality. So we're seeing sort of really strong growth within this area, especially around AI. And there's a lot of ways that we're seeing organizations start to adapt based on the solutions that are out there. It's a very competitive market, especially in the QSR space that we're going to be talking about and focusing on today, where we see really some of the tools that are coming to help with operational efficiency, which have really been driven by data analytics and then adding AI on top of those. And so we're really pleased to be involved with organizations like Sodaclick to really spot a challenge within the market that we can go and address together. Some of the things that we're seeing based on AI is going to have a big impact, right? That's the sort of hype cycle that we're on, but the numbers are starting to sort of back this up in terms of the market research. Just a few sort of pointers that we have here. The global impact of AI through to 2029 is going to be $9.2 trillion. Sales growth with organizations that are driving AI compared to their competitors is going to be over 2x. This is a really interesting space where people that are innovating and using the tools that are out there are really able to help reduce their issues and challenges that they have by using technology. In some of the challenges that we're really seeing across retail and hospitality, people are returning to restaurants and to retail, following the last few years. But what that means is they're expecting different experiences. They want better service. And so we really need to help identify that. And the solution that you're going to hear from Sodaclick today is a real example of how you can go and drive that customer experience. We're seeing more and more that unified retail has been around for many, many years, but we're now actually starting to see that come together through web apps and physical locations. Companies are really realizing that it needs to be a holistic way to market, rather than historically it's been very much different teams operating in silos. And we're seeing new disruptors come into the market, especially within QSR. There's always a new food fad, a new way of doing things, which is helping to drive innovation within this area. And then cost and sustainability. Costs have been going up significantly over the last few years. How can you take advantage of how technology can help with that? And through sustainability, through using the latest technology, you can help to reduce your energy, help to be more efficient, and drive the way that you can control some of these things that are a little bit uncontrollable. So we're seeing that the way to go and look at this is by looking at your data, seeing how you can use it, seeing where you can automate and drive operational efficiencies, and then also how can you go and drive that frictionless experience that really helps enable your consumers to get what they want when they want it, and therefore drive increased sales. One of the things that we're going to focus on today is that frictionless experience. We see customers wanting things faster. They want things to be correct. They want things to be, as they ordered it. And that is driving the expectation of the consumer up. And so how can you utilize technology to help that experience? Working with Sodaclick over the last few years, we've really seen how the development of that voice piece that they're going to go into more detail in is really key to helping drive that experience. So one on the efficiency, operational efficiency for the physical organization, and also for the consumer to help them get what they want. And I think that's a real key point here today, is that when you have a solution like the Sodaclick that is addressing both sets of people, it's not weighted to just the organization or weighted just for the consumer. When it really gives benefits to both sides, that's where the technology can really help advance some of this. And where, from an Intel point of view, where we sit in that is working with Sodaclick and other ISVs to make sure that the hardware that they need to go and deliver this experience is optimized and is hitting the right cost points for these to be delivered and to scale. And that's the thing that we really are looking for, how to drive this across quick service restaurants worldwide. And finally, we don't see this just as an edge or a cloud play. From an Intel point of view, we really see that you need to be looking at this as a holistic viewpoint, managing the cloud and the edge together, because there are going to be certain bits of data that are going to be optimized and want to be run at the edge to deliver some of those customer experiences. But then you're also wanting to understand at the larger organizational level, whether that's regional, country, or worldwide, how that is impacting you and how that data can be managed. So we really see a strong link between the cloud and the edge to really drive these AI use cases moving forward. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Sam to give you more details on Sodaclick and how they're going to market.
Thank you very much, Dan, for that lovely insight. Thanks, everyone, for joining today for what is going to be a roller coaster of a ride for quick service restaurants and the latest and greatest of what Sodaclick and Intel are achieving in the market. So we'll be looking at the ever-changing landscape. Quite rightly, as Dan put it, there's been a massive curve post-pandemic, and during pandemic, obviously, there was a lot of issues that we saw and patterns that emerged that now we're dealing with 2 years later. We'll be focusing on the expectations and the role of AI. We hear a lot about AI and what it's doing in the market, but we don't truly see the evolvement of that at scale. And then we'll obviously talk about how Sodaclick and Intel are truly transforming not only customer interactions, but the operational efficiencies, which Dan touched base on. We'll then go into a demo. So you'll see a video of live interactions with customers across the globe. And we'll talk about a few case studies, the challenges that we had and the outcomes. and then look at the business model and what it truly is driving for businesses and customers alike. Then there'll be a small opportunity at the end to run through any questions and answers. So the ever-changing landscape of quick service restaurants, it's been a tough couple of years for the hospitality and retail industry. We saw when we first ventured into this in 2018, which is quite a long time now, thinking of it, 6 years in technology, it's a long time. Pre, during, and post-pandemic, we've seen different patterns emerge, but the one constant has been labor issues. So, currently there's labor shortages globally, so it's not just an issue that's in the US, Europe, but it is a truly global issue. We're seeing the industry size of quick service restaurants is increasing. This year and next year, we're hitting 690 billion plus. So by 2030, it will be $1 trillion market. And the growth in these drive-thrus, rather than standalone in-store, we're seeing 70+% of the revenues are coming from drive-thrus. So, there has to be some efficiencies that we have to create there with the technology stack. The challenges that we faced when we first started on this, Ibrahim and I co-founded Sodaclick many moons ago. But when we created our AI division in 2017, we're actually stuck in line at one of our favorite drive-thrus, can't say the brand, but effectively we saw the challenge, not only us as a consumer, because, as a technology company and as an ISV, we're all consumers at the end of the day. So we found that there's many bottlenecks through the drive-thru circuit. Being a fast food fan, I was hungry and effectively got very frustrated. Ibrahim, being the brains of the company, said, what can we do to really drive efficiencies here? Sodaclick AI was born from that moment. Fast forward a year later, we partnered up with Intel, and effectively that journey started to look at these challenges that not only in QSRs, but in retail, industrial applications, etc. So long wait times, the current average in the States is bordering 6 minutes. The accuracy challenges that staff members are facing when being pressured at long queues are hitting about 85% accuracy. So a lot of the orders are getting to the customer incorrectly. The lack of personalization because of the sheer volume of cars. One of the drive-thrus we work with are hitting 1,200 vehicles a day. So it's massive throughput that these poor members of staff are dealing with, 10, 12 hours of the day in certain regions of the world. How can AI really solve these challenges? Is it just a fad we're hearing every day? AI is a buzzword that we probably hear about 100 times a day. But truly, as a consumer, how can this change our lives when going to a quick service restaurant, retail, shopping, etc.? So it actually does improve the speed of service. So we're seeing across many of our deployments a 20% to 25% reduced wait time. We're seeing 98% accuracy, which means that orders are being taken by Sodaclick AI without breaking out to a member of staff. We're having full personalization at that drive-thru, and we're bridging that labor gap massively. 30 to 40% of staff members, their time is being repurposed back into the kitchen and in store to focus on what really matters, which is customer service. And obviously, as a business, you're looking at increasing the average order value. What sets us apart? So our partnership with Intel years ago started looking at their off-the-shelf technology stack and how it can benefit us as a business, but also the offerings that we sell on to our clients and inadvertently the customers who will be delighted at the end of this technology sprint. Ibrahim will talk about the powering of Intel and what it's driving. But before we get there, Sodaclick is truly a multilingual tool that, working with American brands, which, there's approximately over 76,000 brands coming out of the States for quick service restaurants. But a lot of them are global. A lot of these AI companies that say they are global truly work in a few languages. But some of the case studies that you'll see, with the power of Intel, we've been able to scale not only just the AI itself and the operations of it, but how truly multilingual it is in different dialects and variants, and the seamless integrations into the kitchens and sending those orders and those baskets. And finally, the scalability. So Intel has helped us scale not only the tech stack itself, which Ibrahim will go through, but also the ecosystem of partners and customers, which has been truly refreshing to see from a chip maker ultimately, which is incredible. Ibrahim, over to you.
Sure. Thank you, Sam. AI, Intel has been with us throughout this journey, assisting us in providing cutting edge hardware, and also, of course, their tool sets to produce such amazing workloads across different places. So edge, cloud, and hybrid. So that's something that most of our customers require to do edge inferencing versus cloud and sometimes hybrid. So depending on the query from the customer, that sometimes we use smaller models to do a lot of edge inferencing using OpenVINO, of course, to create once and deploy across many different places. So this has always been a great opportunity for leveraging such amazing partner like Intel to give us this great technology where scalability is vital for us. So we work with QSRs from a couple of hundred cars a day to thousands. So at one drive-thru in the Middle East, there were about 1,500 cars that we had to look after. So doing edge inferencing for a lot of their queries was perfect. At the same time, when things get a bit complicated, we leverage the cloud. So OpenVINO allowed us to create this mechanism to offload the query to the right place, essentially. And of course, it comes down to the brand themselves, what they want mainly. So if they require a lot more edge inferencing, that's something that we have the flexibility to create a system where it's doing a lot of edge inferencing as well. So as well as you have multilingual opportunities in some of these drive-thrus, and to have simultaneous kind of workloads on these devices. So we have to look after, of course, integrations with other partners to provide real-time data for the AI to use. So Intel allowed us to do that at the edge as well. Okay, so we'll just play a video now just to show you what's happening at the drive-thru in Australia.
Introducing Ollie, the newest member of our team. Ollie is here to make ordering faster and more personalised than ever. From the moment you arrive, Ollie is ready to assist.
What can I get for you today?
Hi Ollie, what is the most popular breakfast item you have?
Our meal deal bacon and egg bun with a coffee is a top brekkie pick. Fancy trying it?
Yes, that's fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your order. Please drive up to the next window for payment. What would you like to order?
Can I please order a beef burger?
Sure thing. How about we make that a meal with water and sweet potato chips?
Yes, please.
Please drive up to the next window for payment.
At Oliver's, we want to offer more than just great food. We're always looking for ways to innovate and enhance the customer experience. Ollie is our way of blending tradition with smart technology to deliver improved convenience and service to our drive-thru customers. Sodaclick is also integrated with Prep-It to answer any specific product and nutrition information questions.
Is that gluten-free?
The raspberry and coconut muffin is made without gluten. Anything else you'd like?
No, that's perfect, thanks.
My kids love chicken nuggets. How are they cooked?
Our nuggets are baked to perfection, ensuring they're crispy and delicious without frying.
I want some nuggets.
It took me a second to realise Ollie was AI, but it was an easy interaction and a smooth process.
As a mum, I asked lots of questions, so it was great to get the information about the ingredients and how it's cooked.
Yeah, I did find Ollie helpful. I usually go in store to make my order, but I went through drive-thru as it makes it quick and easy on my way to work.
Ollie answered all my questions, plus gave some wonderful recommendations.
Ollie exceeded expectations.
I think after that video, we all want some nuggets. Yeah, as you can see from that was one of our many deployments out in Australia, which we'll run through in a second. Effectively, it was delighting customers. It's completely seamless and integrated into their nutritional database, into their inventory management, which Ibrahim will run through. But they reached out to us probably about 18 months ago, facing a lot of challenges, and one of the main challenges really was labor shortages. In Australia, vast amounts of land, and they were opening up everywhere, but they just couldn't get staff out to those locations. So they were faced with one of two options: either close shop, right, which will obviously be devastating to the local communities and labor where they can get it, or utilize technology. So they reached out to Sodaclick, cross borders, down under. We're a London-based company. We utilized Intel's infrastructure and Intel's partnership out in APAC to start delivering what would be a very challenging uphill solution. So that was the first challenge. The second challenge was Oliver's key driver is nutrition. So Ibrahim, over to you.
Sure. So with Oliver's, we had to create an immersive, contextually aware assistant. So this hasn't been done before. So it's not like your usual kind of flow. You ask a question, you get an answer. So they wanted to keep the essence of what Oliver's stood for, is to create a friendly staffing approach towards technology. So they wanted to, as you saw in the video with Natalie, the CEO of Oliver's, they wanted an assistant to be like a member of staff, because like Sam was saying, it's difficult for them to acquire such talent in remote locations. So technology was the only way. So we had to create an assistant that actually was aware of its surroundings, aware of its the culture, aware of things like, I don't know if you guys know what a Dani means, right? So that's something we had to learn. So Dani is, for your reference, is a toilet. So even to those nuances, the assistant had to know what it meant to be an Aussie assistant. So that was a great insight for us to work on such an amazing project. And also it had to be aware of what it was serving. So it had to know the products. So it's not just data in, data out. It had to be contextually aware how it interacts with that data. So you can tell it, for instance, how much calories do I have in my basket, for instance, and it can aggregate all that data, knowing each component, how many calories it has. Or you are, like you saw in the video, you have a specific allergy. You can tell Ollie, and Ollie will only show you the items are made, for instance, without gluten, for that matter. And of course, an assistant without actually pushing the order to the back end, to the kitchen, is a useless assistant. It's great. It can delight you and have a lovely conversation with you. But its purpose, its sole purpose, is to streamline operations and delight the customer, of course. So interacting with Shift 8, great partner of ours, we've created an opportunity to take whatever the AI was producing and channeling it to the back of the kitchen.
Yeah, Ibrahim, I think that has been one of our really fun projects to work on. Like I said, specifically the global arm, right? So as a company here in the UK, we have a global reach that we can utilize and create fantastic solutions, not only to quick service restaurants, but to the retail and general hospitality environment. The results that we've seen from our hard work is really incredible. We've seen over 30% staff efficiency. So repurposing that labor back into the kitchen and the in-store environment has not only taken the pressure off members of staff at peak times, but has also created a better environment for the operations and ultimately delighting the customers. So the engagement that we've seen is over 15%. So now we're hitting about 18 to 20% of upsells. So that's an increase of the average order value for the business, but also giving back to the consumer, which effectively allows you not to be rushed at the drive-thru. Have you ever been to a drive-thru where you want to take your time, you want to see the menu, you want to really understand and immerse yourself, specifically if you've got children, it really upsets consumers when they're being rushed. So with this AI assistant, it really helps not only drive efficiencies, but also engage the consumer, which leads to increased upsell. So what I'd like to say to a lot of the companies out there that are focusing on sub-second interactions, it's not about just speed. It really is about engagement with the customer and with the business. So another one of our case studies, KFC. We've been working with Yum for many, many years across the globe. One of our key customers in the Middle East and Asia, again, came to us with a big challenge. This time, issues with the native speakers of the staff members. They don't actually speak, for instance, Arabic or Urdu or English for that matter. So, the challenge was to create a truly multilingual assistant at the same time, which Ibrahim will talk about how we actually devised this type of assistant. And then, of course, they required an increase of the average basket size at a minimum of 10%. So again, we'll talk about what that looks like in a minute, but ultimately streamlining their order processing.
Sure. So with this assistant, had to be different to all of us. So their key metrics is their KPIs is time and accuracy, as they're serving hundreds to 1,000 plus cars a day. We had to make sure we reduce that time and increase accuracy at the same time. But we had to do it in 2 other languages for that matter. So that was very challenging. The reason why we had to do it in those other languages is because they do have a lot of Arabic-speaking customers coming in, even though it is an American franchise, and all the products are in English, but people still converse in their native language. The key pain point here was to allow the customer to speak in their own native language, but the staff, they don't speak Arabic or they don't speak Urdu, because most of the staffing in those quick service restaurants in that area are, they only speak English for that matter. So Arabic is left out. So when a customer who's hungry and angry at the same time drives up at the drive-thru speaker post, they are going to speak in their native language, and why shouldn't they? But at the other end, you don't have an Arabic speaker or an Urdu speaking staff member. So there seems to be a lot of tension building up, and that affects operations in the back of kitchen. So what tends to happen is the manager steps in because they're Arabic speaking, they take the order. So there's a huge pain point right there that we are solving with AI. Our AI speaks Arabic, fluently actually, and delights the customer. When a customer hears, an assistant talking in Arabic, it delights them. They converse comfortably to give the order, and then that basically has a huge uptake for recommendations in Arabic as well, or Urdu. And the recommendation engine works beautifully because it's contextually aware. It knows how much items it has in the basket, what items there are, and it will recommend according to what the customer has ordered. And at the same time, depending on the weather. So if it's hot, most of the time it is in Dubai and the Emirates. So it will recommend something like a mojito crushes, not a hot apple pie on a hot summer's day.
Yeah, absolutely, Ibrahim. That's again, this has been one of our crown jewels, really, of drive-thrus. So KFC, a synonymous brand, rolling out to across the Middle East in those languages is a world's first, I would like to say, and is unprecedented, where you actually get to converse in multiple languages in the same session. So effectively, as we drive up, we can converse in English, and then I can change to Arabic, I can change to Urdu, and any of the languages that has been rolled out, which is a world's first, as I said. And the help of Intel, the core Ultra AI PCs, the OpenVINO tuning has effectively given us the edge to give world-class solutions to our customers, to the brands and the franchisees, but also, like I said, and Ibrahim touched base on, to alleviate the pressure off of staff and really delight the customer, which most of the time in technology companies, it's an afterthought, unfortunately. It's not something that they think about. It's all about operations, but the consumer is key. So, I'd like to thank Intel for giving us the edge. No pun intended.
Absolutely.
So the business model and our target audience, as an ISV, we focus a lot on the technology, what it could do for the businesses, but at the same time, what's in it for the channel. So our target audience really is the QSR brands, the franchisee groups, the retail chains, but through the channel. So, Intel's ecosystem of partners and various partners globally get to work with Sodaclick on a ad hoc basis. So it's like the building blocks of quick service restaurants and the technology stack. So, they can choose a component from here, a component from there. And that's really been the benefit of joining the Intel ecosystem. So the RFP Ready Kit program has allowed us to not only be seen globally through this system, but it's allowed us to create those building blocks that gives the target audience the push and the driver to create fantastic business integrations for those companies. So the business model itself, it's a SaaS-based subscription model, and effectively, it's a very, CapEx versus OpEx has always been something that's on the minds of businesses. So it's a very simple solution that plugs in to the OpEx operations of these businesses. So it's something that can scale efficiently and effectively. And the reason we worked with Intel is because of the CPU usage versus GPU usage. And again, the reason why I mention this is because of the business model, right? Working with GPUs is so expensive. And, not a lot of businesses understand that most of the devices that they have are CPU hungry. They're utilizing CPUs, but with Sodaclick's AI solution, it's targeted to work very well within this framework. So the collaboration helps us grow to any size of business, from small franchisees to global chains, effectively and efficiently. How we make it work? This is actually a very exciting time in the advent of AI. So if you came to us, 6 months ago, we tell you that the typical framework of onboarding, configuring, building, testing, and sign off takes anywhere between 12 to 16 weeks. With the help of Intel over the last couple of months, we've had advancements in our tech stack that now allows us, very excitingly, and drum roll please, 2 weeks onboarding, 2 weeks sign off to national rollout, a couple of days for multiple languages. So effectively, we are one of the world's first AI companies that can scale efficiently and thoroughly and securely via Intel and the Intel channel. The impact. So just a recap on everything we talked about from Dan, Ibrahim, and the team here at today's webinar is effectively we're looking at revolutionizing quick service restaurants via AI. And that's not only voice, but that also encompasses vision and other aspects of AI with the tech stack that Intel helps to deliver. But ultimately for businesses, it's the increased revenue potential that we're seeing day in, day out with the businesses that are being onboarded, the scalable solutions that are meeting the demands of growth. So as we saw earlier, 70% of quick service restaurants are drive-thru centric. We've got 76,000 brands plus just in America alone. So there is a massive demand that we need to fulfill. And, looking at the 2 case studies that we covered today, so Oliver's and KFC, they're not just a quick service restaurant. They're not just working in hospitality. They are becoming leaders in technology, with the help of Sodaclick, with the help of Intel and the ecosystem of partners. They are actually becoming leaders in the forefront of technology, which is absolutely very, very exciting. So, I'd like to thank Dan and Intel for sponsoring this event today and effectively helping us scale. And look forward to 2025.
Awesome. Well, thank you to Dan, Sam, and Ibrahim for that great presentation. And I just want to take a second and thank our audience for also joining us. We're going to move into our question and answer period right now. And we did have some questions flow in. So I think a good question to start off with that we saw come in. And please, audience, if you have any questions, this would be your time to continue asking as we have our presenters for around 7 to 10 minutes here. So one of the questions was, where do you see the AI transforming the drive-thru experience in the coming 3 years, 5 years, and then 10 years down the line when we start to look towards the future?
Very good question. I think, I'll answer part of it. Ibrahim can continue. But from our view, obviously working on the ground and obviously from here as an ISV, we're seeing a massive shift into full automation. So, currently it's voice at the order post. Tomorrow it will be vision for hyper-personalization, which is something that we already work with, and then full automation. So, 10 years, oh gosh, who knows?
Yeah, there'll probably be something completely different to a cheeseburger. I don't know. Right? But no, absolutely. I don't know, 10 years.
120 years and going, yeah.
Right, like Futurama, I don't know. But yeah, no, definitely the vision component is going to be a huge driving factor to create a hyper-personalized opportunities for brands to know their customers and to, and depends on certain regions because you also have to be aware of how much of data is being conversed from customer to brand and how much of that data is going to be used for personalizing your experience. I mean, it's great to all of us to get pampered and, create a beautiful experience, but at the same time, you're going to go into a lot of problems in how much information you need to give to get. So we need to address these issues, and then we can create amazing immersive experiences.
I think just to add on to that, I think the key is as the technology evolves and comes into the price points that these organizations want to or are able to pay, then I think you'll see it start to be used in many different ways that even we as technologists haven't even thought of. That's the fun part of our job, is you think, oh yeah, it's going to be all interactive and everything, and then it will just take a a left turn, right, when you least expect it. But I think the way that the hardware is moving so fast, and with AI PC now coming along into consumer devices, that really opens up for us how people see AI and how they use it, which will then filter down into our verticals and quick service restaurants and retail.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Dan, I think, a lot of the times, if we looked at 18 months ago, the reason for the slow adoption globally, we're not just talking from a Sodaclick perspective, we're talking about competitors in the market as well. It's been a very tough ride for them, and it's been very difficult just because of the technology. Like you say, as technologists, we'd like to showcase the future today, but it comes at a cost, right? So over the last, I would say 12 months, we've seen a rapid reduction in the cost model, which is allowing us to truly scale. So, and again, that's with the help of the CPU versus GPU, which I think I'm seeing a question come up. It really is helping for that scale model to work.
Great. Another question, and I think we have time for two more, and then we'll get everybody out of here. It's concerning. It's not exactly clear, but I'll kind of parse through it, and it's concerning the KFC with upselling. So, how does AI enable more effective upsell opportunities compared to the traditional methods? And I know you as Sodaclick talked about it, so feel free to talk about your guys' use case in that as well.
Absolutely. So it's important to address the fact that the AI itself is built on previous historical data, as well as its own kind of understanding of what products it's recommending, what products it's churning, essentially. So what we started to see in some instances where brands think a specific flow would work for them, they started to allow the AI to kind of take control and see what great opportunities have started to emerge in front of them. So because it knows the products, like I was saying, it's contextually aware of the products. It knows, like with hot wings, for instance, you might like to get, I don't know, something like a refreshing, cool drink, right? It's not going to go offer you like a cookie or something, okay? So it knows human behavior very well. So what it will start to achieve is opportunities that brands did not anticipate, where then they start to kind of do A/B testing against it, because we have the power as Sodaclick to enable certain flows. So then they can start to say, let's focus more on that flow. And then the AI will start to actually produce a much better flow in terms of pairing items together. So you start to see a much better uptake in these recommendations than previously done by simple flow. If a customer orders something like this, offer this. So less of a linear way, more of a understanding way.
It's an interesting one, actually. We've seen some of the solutions out in the United States where you go up to drive-through day 1, day 2, day 100, you'll still be offered a hot apple pie. And it's very frustrating because that's literally the only product that's being upsold.
Yeah.
And every time it's, and no, I don't want a hot apple pie. So, with Sodaclick, it works very differently, where there's store management control. So on the AI PC, the Core Ultra AI PC, that's on an all-in-one. It sits by the collection window close to the existing POS. The store management have full control on, let's say, inventory management. If you want to push something that's sitting out, you can push it, but then effectively the AI will make a better informed decision. Actually, no, you don't want to sell the hot apple pie, sell something else. So yeah, that's what we're seeing.
And I think that's the key for AI, right, is understanding human behavior, right? Absolutely. When you go into quick service restaurants, you're not looking at the menu. 9 times out of 10, you know what you want, right? And so you're sort of going in there because you want fast food. That's what it's there for. And so when the AI can actually offer you something that you haven't even thought about. I mean, if you look at, you know, the KFC or McDonald's menus these days, right? They're massive. No one knows them. You know Big Mac, you know, your bucket meal, but you don't know all the ins and outs. So when you have something that can actually identify those opportunities and tell you about them, you go, oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, I'll have that. So it's by driving that messaging and that conversation, you're able to get people to think differently and therefore spend more money, which is ultimately what the brands want.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So we're running over on time, so I'm going to wrap up here in about a minute and a half. So thank you for the audience sticking around, but I'm going to give Sodaclick, you guys, 30 seconds or 45 seconds. So good luck to just, what is your value proposition or main differentiator compared to the competitor? I know you've spent a lot of time today preferencing that, but if you were to 30 to 45 second pitch.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks, Cyril. I think to sum up really is the low-res integration for quick service restaurants, utilizing the edge inferencing, the low-powered CPU usage versus GPUs to keep a lower cost model for scalability, and the multilingual capabilities that Sodaclick offers, and the cost model versus what we're seeing out in the market.
Absolutely. And of course, AI being AI normally, but we like to, make sure it's a great assistant in terms of making all those nuances being delivered to each use case for each customer is vital. So one AI does not fit all.
One size doesn't fit all.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that's very important for us.
Awesome. Well, that does it for our presentation. We'll get the audience out of here and get our speakers out of here. But thank you to Dan, Ibrahim, and Sam for the great presentation. And audience, please leave a rating below. So this concludes our webcast today. And everyone have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.